Hello, this is Ruth Ann. Welcome to my channel. This is a brief review video of my top 10 green fragrances. Green fragrances are not having a day right now. They're not having a moment. They're definitely what you would call outdated, retro, and niche in the way that there are few people who seem to enjoy them anymore. Now, they may still be popular with men, leaning more pine and I forget the name of so kind of pine and vetiver is what I'm saying. So a lot of these fragrances do have vetiver, but they don't feature vetiver. It's more green in terms of dark, deep greens of the leaves of flowers. The leaves and stems of flowers is really more what the green is like in a woman's fragrance. So without going on and on about this, I'm just going to get started. I'm going to go from least and lightest to most and strongest or darkest. So I'm going to get started with this fragrance. This is from Avon. This is Haiku in a limited edition bottle. Looks like a Christmas tree. I love it. I love kitschy things like this. So this is a light, airy white musk with green, but it's like a green tea. It's a very ethereal, transparent, light fragrance, but it's very nice, clean, fresh, inoffensive, but it lasts pretty good. So, and it's also very inexpensive. Haiku is probably one of the best sellers that Avon has, and it's worth all the hype. It also has about 1,000 flankers, and I've tried several of them. They're all beautiful. This also has a body cream available, which if you wear them together, works really well. This may be a Christmas bottle, but Haiku is a fragrance I primarily wear in the summer because it's very well tolerated and it's well suited to heat and humidity. So Haiku is number one. Number two, and I'm realizing as I pick it up, I'm forgetting the name of this. All right, let me get my reading glasses on. Look at how professional I am. I don't even have this. Okay. Eden. That's right. Eden. And I can't remember the name of the manufacturer. It's from England, and I will put it in the description box if you're interested in more information about it. Eden is a very saturated, humid, a little on the sweet side. It's a very unique green fragrance, and it smells a lot like a jungle with a lot of flowers and high humidity. So I find it's very heady. It's a little cloying. It's hard for me to wear near my neck and chest area because it just will hang in the air. It's very strong, very long lasting, close to nuclear, probably 12 hours plus. It's beautiful. And it's got a very strange bottle. I don't know why it looks like this. It's kind of a jade green, and you would think it would be kind of fresh and clean, but it's not. This is almost dirty. It's very unique. And so if you like green and you like unique, I really recommend this. But and the reason why it's only number two is not because it's not long lasting. It's because it has a little less green than some of the others that are coming up. All right, next I have Banana Republic Vintage Green. This is from their line of unisex fragrances. Banana Republic is known for their fresh, clean fragrances, and this is no exception. So I think it's called 78 because it's been inspired by 1970s greens. However, this is really more of a sparkling, clean white musk with green notes in the background. It's very light, clean, sparkling, perfect for summer. Yes, it's very unisex. I'd say it leans a little more feminine, but it's definitely more of a freshie. If you like a freshie green, this is definitely worth trying. Not too expensive. I'd say I probably paid in the $40 range for this. Really gorgeous, lasts at least 6 hours. Next up, I have a classic. This is by Balmain, French perfumer, and it's called Vert, which is French for green wind. And this is a summer fragrance. This was hugely popular back in the 60s and 70s. A lot of old 60s, 70s Hollywood starlets wore this. I would say, it's, if you were to compare these two, this is a modern green fresh. This is an old-fashioned green fresh. They're not at all alike. The green here is actually quite dark, and it's not at all fresh. Not at all. It's more like, all right, so if you're at a spa and you're looking for a spa-like fresh clean, that's Banana Republic Vintage Green. If you're camping outside of a dark pine forest, this is the kind of green, right? It's not at all smoky, but it's green. It's a real green. We're moving into like seriously green fragrances with this one. It does smell very old school. It has aldehydes, powdery iris in here, but very green. It's not the light, bright fragrance that you would expect with this bottle, but it's beautiful. It's very unique. If you like greens, I think it's been discontinued. It's fairly expensive nowadays, but this was a treat that I asked for my husband for a birthday a couple years ago, and I did do a review of this alone. So if you're interested in more information about it, I have that video available. Next up, I have Windsong by Prince Matchabelli. This is technically a floral fragrance. However, it's got a lot of dark green notes in it. And it's similar in that way to Chanel number 19, which is also on this list. So if you like Chanel number 19, this is more of a floral, happy version of Chanel number 19. Floral first, about 30 to 40% green, but it's a dark, heavy green. Beautiful, lasts a long, long time. This is at least 8 hours, perhaps even up to 10. Very inexpensive. Of all of the fragrances on this list, this is probably the second least expensive, with Haiku probably being the least expensive and Windsong being next. All right, next up I have, this is another French perfume. This is by Robert Piguet, and it's called Futur in English. In French, I guess it would be Futur. Anyway, this is a much darker green perfume. It has a lot of deep amber and musk in the base. It is slightly aldehydic at the opening, but it's a very dry green. Perfect for the Christmas season, winter. The only thing I don't like about Futur, I love the scent. It's a really robust, rustic kind of a green fragrance, but it doesn't last as long as it should. And it's also not very expensive. So if you look at all the Robert Piguet perfumes, this is probably one of the least expensive ones out there. If you like greens and it's not too expensive, I would recommend trying it. I would not save up money to buy this special because it just doesn't last as long as it should for a fine perfume. Robert Piguet is a fine perfume house. They're well known for doing Fracas, Petit Fracas. They do some really, really expensive, long-lasting perfumes. This is not one of them. Smells great, but it should last longer. So I can't really recommend it because of that, but it is nice. And it's one of mine, so I had to include it. Next up, I have oldie but goodie, Chanel number 19. This is the EDP. From what I understand, this is no longer available in stores, but you can still purchase it on the website. And that is where I asked for this fragrance for, I believe it was my birthday. My husband bought this for me this year. And this is a powdery iris floral with a lot of green, a lot of galbanum and a lot of green. So it's like a very airy, fresh, but yet as it settles on the skin, it's almost like a damp shawl. Like, let's say you have a wool damp shawl and you've been out in the woods and there's a lot of greenness in there in the scent, and you wrap it around your shoulders. That's a lot like what spraying Chanel No. 19 EDP on is. And I'm not describing that really, really well. It's really beautiful. It's a very powerful lady boss kind of fragrance. It's something that I would picture a lawyer wearing at trial if she wants to intimidate. Okay? It's a very serious perfume. There is nothing lighthearted, fancy, friendly. It's very cold, off-putting, arrogant almost. But yet at the same time, it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. My children, my adult children, all like it. All think it's beautiful. So I'm just giving you my impressions, but it's very green, very powdery, a lot of iris. I'd say it's 50% iris, 50% green. Lasts a very long time. Only need a few sprays. I highly recommend. Gorgeous perfume if you like greens. All right, now I have Chanel No. 19 Eau de, this is an EDC, Eau de Cologne, Eau de Toilette. I'm not sure. I think it's an Eau de Toilette. I'm sorry. It's hard to think and talk at the same time sometimes. All right, so the difference between the EDP and the EDT. All right, the EDP is, like I said, very powdery, very air-filled, very light. This has a very green, Chanel No. 19 EDT has a very green, sharp opening. Very satisfying if you like greens. And the way I would describe it is, imagine you have a bunch of long stem roses. You take a sharp knife and you cut through the stems and you get a burst of fresh green rose stems. That is what Chanel No. 19 smells like on opening. Then as it dries down, you get a little bit more of the iris, the floral, but that green stays. I wish the freshness and the strongness and sharpness of that stem green smell stayed longer, because that's my favorite part of Chanel No. 19 EDT. And you don't get that at all with the EDP. The EDP is much more powdery, and you don't really get the powderiness with the EDT. It's really more of a sharp green experience. Very lovely, very ladylike. You've got to like greens, and if you like greens, I recommend it, but it's really expensive, and it does not last as long as it should. So this is more like a 4 to 6 hours, really more at the 4 mark. I reapply, and this is probably the last bottle I'll buy because it's just gotten too expensive for a perfume that doesn't last as long as it should. All right, next up, I have, this is a banger. If you like greens, you have got to get your hands on one of these. So this is called Climat, and it's by Lancome. This is an eau de toilette, and this has been discontinued, but it's still fairly well available on eBay. I bought several bottles, probably 3 or 4 a couple of years ago. They were around $17 each. I honestly don't know what they're going for now. This is a 100 ml. No, it's not quite 100 mils. This is a 45 ml bottle. What I don't like about this, the only thing I don't like about this is the atomizer. It's got this wonky plastic atomizer, but it still sprays quite well. It's just not very pleasant to spray. This is a nuclear soap, green soap. So it is a soap. This is the soapiest of the soapy fragrances. It smells like you had a Chanel No. 19 soap, and it was on nuclear blast level. That's what Climat smells like. So the powderiness comes from iris, and then you get a lot of aldehydes. So that equates to soap. It is very unique, and I love this fragrance. There are some days that I just, this is the only thing that satisfies me because it's just so soapy. So if you like green, you like soap, I really recommend you get your hand. This is very unique, and you'll never come across anything quite like this anywhere else. Absolute love. And I have one more. My last is Silences by Jacomo. So this is a dark aldehydic green. So with Climat, this is a light, happy, soapy green, right? Silences is a dark, depressive green. This is like a dark, dark black night green with aldehydes, but it doesn't come across as soapy. So I always think of Silences as going out into the dark forest at night, with the wind blowing, so you get all the green, the depths of the forest floor, all the pine on the forest floor, the green, but none of the lightness and brightness, no sunshine. The aldehydes are barely there. They really don't sparkle and lighten up. This is dark green. You know, I don't really know it's really unique. And I do really like it, but I have to be in the mood for this. It's also very inexpensive, and it can be picked up easily on eBay. I've never looked for it on Amazon or with discounters because I really don't buy much perfume there. But there are a lot of bottles available for inexpensive. So if you like green, this is worth a try. Very unique, and expect it to be really old school and vintage smelling. But I do love this fragrance as well. So that's it for my favorite greens in my collection. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.